This is Rob Turbot for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, joined here today by Ben Davison. It's the morning after the night before in Las Vegas. Tyson Fury, unanimous decision victory over Otto, Wallin. How are you, Ben?
I'm good, you?
Not too bad, thanks, mate. Not too bad. Bit of a late night, early morning, but that's fight night for you. So, a little bit of a different experience this time than the last time we were in Vegas. Talk to me about the fight last night.
Yeah, it was an entertaining one, let's put it that way. Put it this way, I knew that Otto would ask questions early on in the fight, that Tyson would have to grow into the fight. I knew that Otto was going to try to match Tyson early, and I knew that he would fade as the fight went on. So the game plan was to control him at distance in the early part of the fight, and then build into the fight, start to take over as the fight goes on. In my head, I had that Otto, out of the first 4 to 5 rounds, might win a round, share a round, something along those lines, and then Tyson would really take over as the fight went on. Obviously, the cut happened, so it changed things up quite a bit, but Tyson still went similar to how I thought, in terms of Tyson would start to dominate as that fight went on, and he did do, because he's got a fantastic engine and plenty of heart. But I also had to make a decision of the right time to close that gap up and start working on the inside, because I thought if we start too soon and the cut starts to worsen too soon, the ref and the doctor might think about how long's left. So we had to be smart in that decision, and I feel like made the right decisions and got the job done.
Talk to me about that cut. It's obviously one of the major points of the whole fight. How soon or how were you made aware of it being a punch or a head clash? Because there seems to be a little bit of confusion about that.
Yeah, well, the ref come over and he said to me, it's from an accidental headbutt. And then, so I'm saying to Tyson, okay, keep boxing, stick as you are. Then the ESPN guy come over in the corner and said, have you been made aware that it's from a punch? I said, no, the refs told me it's from an accidental head clash. He said, no, they've used the replay stuff, which we are made aware of the replay stuff, but nobody come over and made me aware that it had been changed to a punch. So at that point I was like, oh, well, I wasn't informed of that. So that was when I had to, okay, we need to start making a decision, need to change things up. And like I say, I feel like we made the right decision, because if we had got started the inside stuff too soon, the cut potentially could have worsened and worsened and worsened. By the time the doctor had a look at it at that time when he did, things could have been different. So it was all about timing, and I feel like we made the right decisions. Like I say, come out with a W to win 10-2 on points and 9-3, with one eye effectively. I know Tyson at the time said I can see, but clearly you could see that it was affecting his vision. So all that matters is we come out with a win. That's what matters.
Very watchful couple of rounds to start off the fight, which is not something that is completely out of the ordinary for Tyson. He often does that. I spoke to McCulloch, former WBC bantamweight champion, who was there last night watching the fights. He said that he felt that Tyson looked a little bit flat in those early rounds. Would you agree with that? Were you happy with his first couple of rounds?
What I will say this, I'm going to be honest, I knew in the changing room that he wasn't quite, and if you look from what they showed on the TV, the early part of the warming up was focused on boxing and distance, and I knew, for whatever reason, I couldn't tell you why, he was a little bit heavy-footed, and it just wasn't, and I knew he sensed it as well and could feel it. So if you watch the later of the warming up, it was a little bit more short-range stuff and slightly different. And I had a feeling that the fight would have to go that way. So we prepared for the fight to go that way. That's why Tyson was able to do it and had the engine to be able to do it, because we prepared for it. So we never underestimated Otto. The cut was massively unfortunate. Like I say, if the cut hadn't have happened, the plan was for Tyson to build into the fight, and obviously have kept it a bit cleaner than it was had there not have been a cut. But unfortunately there was a cut, and it became a little bit of of a dogfight, but sometimes that's how it has to be to get the win, and that's what we've done.
Obviously, much was made about the fact that it was Tyson's second fight in 3 months coming into the fight. We spoke, and you've mentioned throughout the week that he came in under his fighting weight for the Schwartz fight. Is there a possibility or potential for him being slightly overtrained for this fight?
Potentially, because even when he's not with me, he's constantly training. So I have tried to encourage him to have a little bit of a rest. But it's hard to do as well because, like I say, for his mental state of mind, he trains. So even when I'm giving him advice, maybe to have a bit of time off, it affects him mentally. So we do have to look at that and try and find the balance on that for sure. He came in slightly lighter than anticipated, but what I will say is by the time he got in the ring, he would have been a lot heavier than what he weighed on the scales, that's for sure. I'm always looking at areas where we can improve. There was a couple of things in the last couple of days that I wasn't too happy with in terms of the final stages of preparation and just straying off of the nutrition plan a little bit. When you eat foreign foods that your body's not eating for 4, 5, 6 weeks, it can it doesn't sit well with the gut. And there was a couple of changes. He strayed off the plan a couple of times after he'd weighed in, even just before he'd weighed in as well. And I do feel like, well, I know, whatever he may say, I know that he wasn't feeling himself 100%. But it's all part of it. It's all part of learning. All lessons for the future, Do
you think potentially subconsciously Tyson overlooked Otto Wallin?
I don't think so. I think he, like I say, listen, he wouldn't have been able to do 12 rounds like that at a good pace like that if he hadn't prepared properly. He hurt Otto quite a few times throughout that fight, but Otto was very tough, fighting with the inspiration of his passing father behind him. No man that he's fighting with reasons like that wouldn't not going to go over easy. And he was tough, he showed a lot of heart, showed toughness, a good chin. And like I say, Tyson showed a good engine and hurt him a few times, but just couldn't get that finish on. But he effectively fought that fight with one eye almost, So I would say that with the circumstances, bearing the circumstances in mind, it was a solid performance.
How worried were you of the fight being stopped?
I was worried, but you can't relay that worry to the fighter. If Tyson's come back and I say, right, Tyson, right, we've got to go out there and we've got to try and knock him out, you can't build that panic in a fighter. You have to remain calm. It was my job to keep him calm. I know that he's an experienced fighter, so I don't have to tell him the seriousness of the situation. He knows that, so it's my job just to give him, not overrule him with information in the corner. I was very selective. 1 or 2 pieces of advice, telling him to keep calm, let Jorge do his work, and that was a job, just to try and keep him calm, get him through the fight, and come out with a W. And he did that, like I say, with the scorecards of 10-2 and 9-3, with one eye, it's not bad. Obviously, we would have liked to clean the performance, of course, but sometimes, it goes that way. We've seen it before in Tyson's career, and we've seen it again tonight, but he always gets the W.
First time you've ever had a fighter cut in the corner, is that?
No, Isaac got cut. Isaac got cut against Duan View. I think Isaac's been cut twice, actually. So other than that, yeah. Isaac twice, I think, and Tyson.
How much did you learn last night going through that? I mean, I walked in, for people who, people won't know, I walked in to see you watching the fight from the 7th round onwards. Picked up on the audio that, this is, I've lost my train of thought. I'm just thinking about it. It's a long night in Vegas. We'll park that and we'll just move on. It's been a very late night. Tyson, how is Tyson? Because obviously he didn't come to the press conference last night. We weren't serenaded as we usually are after his American adventures. How is he? How's the cut? Obviously been stitched now. Any plastic surgery or anything like
that? The cut's been stitched and closed up. I think there was a bit of plastic surgery on it. I'm not an expert in cuts and surgery and that, so I couldn't tell you too much. But he's okay. He's in good spirits. He thanked us all, thanked me, thanked Jorge, thanked the whole team, and he's okay. He knows it could have been a bit of a cleaner performance, but he also knows that sometimes you have to win like that. And like I say, he's been there and done it before. He's had to do it before, and he's done it before, and he's had to do it tonight. But he always gets the job done.
Will he now go and have a bit of a break? Is the cut, given what you've said about him going into the fight and the fact that he does things to excess inside the ring, in the past, outside the ring, so that training, that need to prepare and get in the gym, is the cut a little bit of a blessing in disguise in that regard to try and keep him away from the gym?
We'll see. Hopefully it works that way. Hopefully he does have a bit of a rest. But we'll see, Obviously, it's, like I say, it is tough because the training is his medicine, and obviously his mental welfare is massively important. So we'll see. We'll have to try and find a balance with that.
How important is it to make changes? Is Tyson aware that if he starts in that fashion against, for example, Deontay Wilder in February, could be a completely different story?
Do you know the funny thing? Before he boxed Klitschko, he didn't set the world alight against Hammer. Before he boxed Wilder, he didn't set the world alight against Pianetta. Tyson rises to what's in front of him, and like I say, he always gets the job done. And watching it back, I don't think he started terribly. He started pretty much how we'd spoke. He was making Otto fall short, just finding his distance and his timing to start making him pay. Then the cut happened, So I think without the cut, as the rounds went on, Tyson would have started to land a little bit more, and would have kept it a little bit of a cleaner fight, which would have meant that he found the finishing shots. But what happened. Circumstances changed, and he done what he needed to do to get the win.
John Fury last night had some things to say. I've not watched, or obviously I was at the fight, so I didn't watch the BT live broadcast, but I know you've seen the comments. I know you've responded to them by other outlets. But what did you make of his comments last night?
Listen, John is Tyson's dad, so you have to respect that. I think, you have to understand that his emotions are probably running high as well. But, I think that you have to remember that saying that this team will cost him his career, I think this team saved his career. And I think that, it's a shame that that's forgotten so quickly. But, I'm not going to get in a back and forth in that. Like I said, I had a chat with Tyson last night about it. It's a shame those comments have been made. But it is what it is, Like I say, not too long ago it was Tyson was never going to box again, nowhere near boxing again, on the verge of taking his own life. Now he's in this position, and he's had a fight that didn't go exactly to plan, but he's come out with a W. Like I say, again, winning 10 rounds to 2, 9 rounds to 3. We know the performance could have been cleaner, and changes there could have been a little bit smarter work. But bearing circumstances in mind, like I say, it was a solid performance, not a clean performance, but a solid performance. So yeah, it is what it is. But it's a shame in it But I've always said to you as well, or anybody that's asked me, I'm fully aware that 1 minute you could be considered the best thing since sliced bread, and the next you're there. It's fickle. It's boxing. That's how it comes. That's how it goes. Blow it like a runny nose.
Yeah, that's something that we spoke about I think on Thursday. Yeah, on Thursday. So yeah, you have said that in the past. Just final one on John, because I'm aware that it's certainly not your style to engage in that kind of thing. That I don't think it will do anybody any favours. Where does that come from with John? Where do you think it comes from, him making these comments about yourself, about the team around Tyson?
I don't know, I don't know. Maybe he's got an issue with a couple of things, I'm not sure. I've not seen John for a little while, but like I say as well, you have to bear in mind that it's his son. Emotions were running high. He was obviously very worried throughout the fight, as he would have been, especially not being able to be there, give a bit of advice, check if everything is okay, speak to Tyson, see how Tyson is. I can understand that he was probably panicking, and sometimes I'm fully aware that the trainer is the first line of fire, and it's just how it goes, Obviously, in an ideal world, these things wouldn't get said, but I understand that these things I understand the situation. I understand, like I say, all these circumstances in mind on from John's behalf. That he was worried in that. I also know that he didn't want Tyson to take that Wilder fight at the time, and he's got a lot of built up frustration out of that. I didn't want Tyson to take that fight at the time. I made that very clear, publicly clear, before and after. But I feel like this team together has done very, very well with Tyson. Everybody expected Tyson to get blasted out in that fight, in spectacular fashion. And you all saw the performance that he put in. You saw the performance that he put in against Tom Schwartz. Tonight was a solid performance, not a clean performance, but he got the job done. With those circumstances. So I think this whole team's done a good job, inside and outside the ring. So it's a shame, but like I say, I can understand from a father's point of view that he's worried and frustrated.
Back to the cut, I spoke to Otto, Wallin, and I spoke to Dimitri Salita after the fight. They were of the opinion that had the roles been reversed and Otto had that cut, that the fight would have been stopped. Thoughts?
Thoughts are that Tyson's earned the right to be given the best of chances through the heart that he's shown throughout his career. And that's that really. I said to the commissioner as he at one point, I said, listen, he's shown he's got the heart of a lion, and you've got to give him the bestest of chances. He's earned that right. And they did, so fair play to him. But I understand where they're coming from as well. But like I say, it was like Tyson's known for having that extra bit in there and down there, and I think that may have played a part, which rightfully so, because he's earned it, like I say.
Wilder in February, is that still the plan, or is it a bit too early?
I've got no idea, because I'm not a cut surgeon. I don't know what the situation is with that. Obviously the cuts are worry, and how it hold up. So listen, we'll reassess, but at the minute it's just about healing up.
How good is Otto Wallin? Last night, Dimitri Salita said that he's now one of the top 5 heavyweights in the world. I'm not sure whether or not, maybe you do agree with that. I don't know. How good is Otto Wallin?
He's a good, sound, fundamental boxer. He showed a lot of toughness, and he's fundamentally sound, and he understands how to use his assets and his southpaw stance and his physical attributes. I think that, like I say, as the fight went on, just before the cut, even when the cut landed, Tyson just started to find his distance and timing as he was making Otto fall short. And I think that had the cut not have happened, that you would have seen a little bit more of that, and it started to get cleaner and cleaner and cleaner, and a bit clearer and clearer and clearer. So I think the cut played an impact in Tyson's performance changing and maybe not being as evasive as usual. and helped Otto with his performance. But I think he's fundamentally sound. My opinion hasn't changed. I didn't underestimate him before. I think he's fundamentally sound. He's tougher than I thought. When I said to Tyson in the corner, I said he's going to crack. And I thought that... And at one point, he cracked in terms of... He was getting hurt and he was thinking, I need to get through this. And I know that, just seen there, that Joey Gamach was thinking about pulling him out. But he didn't quit. And I've got to give full credit there. So he probably was a bit tougher than I expected. But I knew that he was a sound boxer as well.
Landed a pretty heavy southpaw left-hand in the 12th round. What was going through your mind then?
Well, I knew that, obviously we were in the 12th round, I knew that the cut was bad. I see Tyson as he was coming out shaking it and keep touching it. Then he got it with his shot and then the side of his face was covered. So, and he got it with a couple of shots. And I said to Tyson, I was talking to Tyson as the round was going, and I was saying to him, just control the distance. You haven't got to win this round. You've won the fight. See the round out. Because I knew he was struggling to see that, but his face was literally red, painted by this point. So I was just saying to him, control the distance, use your front arm to control the distance, and just see the round out. And he did that.
Okay, well, just finally, you had another fighter on the card, Isaac Lowe. Another pretty rugged performance, should we say, very competitive win over Ruben Garcia Hernandez. What did you make of Isaac's performance?
It wasn't fantastic, but I made no bones about it before to anybody that, Isaac struggled with his weight cut. He come in overweight, bearing that in mind that the fight got put forward 3 weeks further than anticipated. I also told him not to wear the gloves that he wore because he was carrying a hand injury, and he didn't listen and broke his hand, so that didn't help. But again, he gradually started to find his feet and got the win, and that's what matters. Like I say, sometimes, probably it wasn't the best performance from my fighters this weekend, but what matters is the win, and that's what we got.
Do you need a break? We've spoken about this a lot. You've gone back-to-back camps here. Obviously, after the Wilder fight, there was a little bit of a delay, but you had Billy Joe. Do you need a break now? Do you think you'll benefit from a bit of a rest?
Yeah, of course. It is tough. I've gone from back-to-back camps, and we had the Wilder fight, and I had an Isaac fight, then I had Muhammad Rabi fight, then I had Billy Joe fight, then I had Tyson fight, then I started preparing Billy Joe again, then he had the switching deals with Eddie, then I had to start preparing Tyson for this fight. So, I haven't stopped since January the 1st, which was the date that I flew over to Spain to first start. And it's tough, but it's part and parcel of the job. It's my job isn't a 9 to 5. Although some people will say, it's a dream job and it's a fantastic job. It is, but it comes with hardship as well. It's not easy. I'm fully aware of that, and I work hard, and I don't take it for granted. It's part of it, but a rest will do us all good for sure. I don't want to be too doom and gloom. I feel like people, it's almost as if, like I say, Tyson won pretty wide, and people are talking, people are having the vibe as though it was like a defeat, because there's so much expectation with Tyson. If he gets hit with a shot, it's like, he's not supposed to get punched, do you know what I mean? But watch Floyd Mayweather versus Robert Guerrero. The early parts of that fight, there were some questions asked. Watch Floyd Mayweather versus Victor Ortiz. In the early part of that fight, there was questions asked. These things happen. Usually as the fight goes on, the talents of the Floyd Mayweathers, the Tyson Furies, and that start to take over. But obviously, you can't help a cut. These things happen. So Tyson had to switch it up. And like I say, it was a good job that we prepared him for all potential outcomes, because no one expected it. But what he needed, he had it in the locker.
Okay, well, Ben Davison, thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social, not only today, but throughout Fight Week. Thank you very much for your honest assessment there, as always. I've got to go to the airport now, so I will catch up with you soon. I hope you enjoy some rest. And yeah, thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social.
Thank you.